Welcome back. Episode 8. Man, these things are flying by of the Power 5 P5 Proverbs podcast. Welcome back with Coach Norman, Coach A, where we're going to break down the journey from youth sports to the pros. Whether you're a young athlete, a parent, or just an overall sports fan, this is the place for you. I'm your host today, MC Mike, and I'm joined as always by two Permian Basin coaching legends, Coach Norman, Coach A, and today's very special guest, Executive Director Trovocie. Gentlemen, how we all doing today?
Doing well.
Man, blessed, man. Blessed. How you doing today, Mike?
Beyond blessed. Coming off Easter weekend with the family. Loved it.
I always have to ask, how's the weather out there?
Hot, sticky, and wishing it was a little cooler.
Well, unlike West Texas, a little confusion in our weather. We had a storm coming in
for about 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Disappeared, right?
I like to say our weather is schizophrenic.
Oh.
Yeah. Bipolar, all of that.
Well, at least I don't hear the wind through your garage door this time, so I guess the weather is sort of subsided.
Yeah. This will happen when you move up in the studio equipment and
set up. Get a little better setup than the living room.
Right.
All right. Well, today we're going to be discussing the value of learning over time, something every coach gains from every step along their journey. And we're going to get some insights, some special insights today about some of the really cool things that are happening around the Midland area. But before we dive too deep down, Coach A, you want to lead us in today's prayer?
I will. Let's bow. Heavenly Father, thank you for a day that was not promised. Father, as we go throughout our day, throughout this session, Father, I pray that some words that we speak, Father, enter the hearts of those that are listening. Father, I also pray for leadership amongst this group of men. Father, I pray the things that we do, we are doing our work as far as kingdom building, Father, and spreading the good news. So, Father, give us the mindset that we need to have to minister to your people and to do things orderly and in fashion. I pray for this in your son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. As always, man, beautiful said. Beautifully put. Okay, and then for today's proverb, Coach Norman, you're going to walk us through this one. I think it's a really cool one, and it definitely aligns with what we're going to be chatting about today. So listen to advice and accept instruction, and in the end, you will be wise.
Absolutely. Listen to advice and accept instruction, and in the end, you'll be wise. Proverbs 19:20, man. It's and I take it a step further. Not that the word needs anything added or subtracted from it, but listen to the advice of the word. Listen to good advice, not bad advice.
Right.
Listening to the advice and accepting the instruction, and you will be wise, man. A lot of times we go through life and we hear certain things, but we don't listen to it. We'll hear something from somebody that's giving some advice. Our parents are telling us stuff all the time when we're growing up, and we don't want to listen to what they say, and we go a different direction. Parents, coaches, whoever it may be. But when we get old, then we like trying to give that same advice to something, and our kids not listening to us. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, but I think, if we stick to what the word says, listening to advice and accepting instruction and proper instruction, and in the end, you will be wise. So, I think that's a great proverb to lead this day off.
Yep. Hey, I like to just throw some stuff in there. The first word in there, listen. That's an action word, something that we can't skip over, because if you're not understanding what the word listen means, you'll miss everything that comes behind it. So you have to actively make yourself sit down and be still and allow the words that are given to you to become life and action in what you're hearing, so that you can move forward with the advice, with the instruction, because there are instructions in what you are actively hearing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I find interesting about this is that it's not reversed, right? So it doesn't say accept the advice and listen to the instruction. It says listen to the advice and accept the instruction, right? So when it comes to advice is one of those things that you can take as much in from, but you only apply what you feel is relevant based around what you think is best, and that's a judgment call. But the instruction, The instruction is something that you're sort of expected to follow based around
Right.
whomever's providing
Yeah.
that, whether it's a parent, a coach, a friend, colleague, a boss. And then, of course, the latter part of that, in the end, you will be wise, right? So if you listen to that advice, you would analyze it, you sort of take it in and then accept the instruction for what it is. You know, that's where the wisdom, I guess, comes from.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your take on it?
Well, before we do that, let's go ahead and introduce to everybody. You know, we got I know you did a light introduction, Mike, but I just want to, because I think this is a special episode, man. I want to, you know, introduce a little bit more to we call him T-Jack, Trovocie Jackson, but man, Coach Jackson, he's been a lot of places around the United States and beyond. He's coached at different levels in different places. He coached here in Midland, coached the girls Midland High basketball team, and went on to Houston and Belton and Fort Worth. Right. And we were very blessed and fortunate enough to get him back here in Midland, Texas. He's now the executive director of the Syndicate. Many people out here know about the Syndicate. It's the new facility, indoor facility that we're building out here on off the loop over by Astound Stadium and Scarborough Complex. It's going to consist of 6 indoor basketball courts, which convert into 12 indoor volleyball courts, and a soccer area as well. So this is a huge facility for Midland that's coming out here. You know, it's nothing like it in the area, to be honest with you. We got places in Abilene and in Lubbock and things of that nature, but for it to come out here to Midland, you know, that it's a great deal that people have gotten together and done within the community. And T-Jack is the ED of this facility, man, and he's going to bring good things to this facility. And I just think it's just a huge deal for the community, and you know, and I'm happy to call him my friend.
Right.
So yeah, there you go, Coach T-Jack.
There you go. Right. Hey man, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Feel blessed and honored to be able to sit down with y'all, man, and be able to chop it up with y'all.
Right.
Excited.
Again, Jack, I'm excited for you, especially when the city of Midland was talking about this type of facility.
Mm-hmm.
Who better to run a facility like this than you? You are a prime example of the Proverbs. You listen to instructions.
Yeah.
You allow people to watch your walk, and then the success, and even in your I'll say your failures, you learn through that, right? And I've seen you. I've heard your coaching style. Not only do you coach the game, but you coach life.
Yeah.
Anytime you open your mouth and you speak, I have to listen, because there's going to be a jewel going to be dropped. So I don't know how important, or if Midland really understand what we have in you in running the facility like that.
Man, again, that sounds great. It does, man.
Right.
And I really appreciate it. You know, but you go where you're called to serve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing more, nothing less. You had opportunities to be able to come back to Midland, but the timing wasn't right. I believe in divine timing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we just weren't moved to move at that time. But now this was the time.
Yeah.
So continue to let him guide those steps.
Absolutely, man. And like Coach A said, you know, we happy to have you here, man, and happy to have you back.
Yeah.
I guess I want to start out. Let's go back to the beginning.
Oof.
I want to go back to the beginning, man. I guess you know, because this episode is we want to feature you on this episode.
Yeah.
And just take us back, man. You know, we know, I know, but let the people know, you know, where you from, your journey through high school, and then your journey through your coaching career and to where you're at now, man. Just we're just gonna be real chill and relax about it, man. But just let the people know who you are. Who is Coach T-Jack?
I am, man, just a product of the east side of Midland, Texas, man.
There you go.
That's who I am. That's what I am. That is how I move. And I'm a product of the people
Yeah.
of Midland,
Yeah.
Texas, because I've never been able to accomplish anything by myself.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of hands have been in to help shape me and move me in the directions in which that I needed to be able to go to. I was one of those kids growing up that they always said that he was real smart, right? They always said that, oh, I can see something in you, right? And I was just foolish enough to believe it. and I was brainwashed into believing that, you know, that I was meant to do something in this world. Didn't know exactly what. Yeah, man, you know, happened to be through sports. And I went pro in sports without playing.
Explain that.
Yeah.
Explain that.
You know, I went pro in sports without playing. Grew up loving the game of basketball, loving many other sports, played all sports, but, you know, really thought that the game of basketball was going to be the one that kind of really moved me. And I thought like most kids, you know, when you're 13, 14, 15 years old, I thought I was going to the league. And then you realize real fast, man, that, oh, okay, you're a little better than average high school ball player, but you ain't quite that at this collegiate level. You know, everybody started getting muscles and mustaches, man, and this little poor little thin frame, man, just wasn't it. But I say that to say the game of basketball gave me so many extra tools because like other sports and football, baseball, basketball, all these other things, friends become family. Strangers become family. And all of these interactions and these relationships that you end up crossing paths with and you end up fostering, they end up help guiding that path. And they showed me that I can go pro, you know, without ever putting my body through that punishment.
No, that's interesting. You say that, man. And explain that a little bit. I want you to go into depth more with that. You know, going pro without going pro or whatnot. I know your college career. So you played in high school, and were you highly recruited by?
No, man. So I wasn't highly recruited, but I was recruited.
Okay.
You know, having opportunities to be able to do many different things. You know, I ended up going to a school, you know, in Nebraska, man, to where I thought that it was going to be for me, and it wasn't. To quickly shift into having to go the JUCO route, because again, then you experience some injuries and some other things, and you end up where you tie so much of your self-worth to a sport, to a thing that's quickly taken away from you. And
that's all you know.
Because that's all I thought that I was, right? I tied so much of my own self to it,
right?
My own self-worth, my own self-experience. Like it was all geared through, you know, being able to put that round thing inside that round thing. And once that was taken away, you go through those bouts of depression. Right? You're fighting, trying to figure out who I am, what I am. And again, thank God that I had to get in the city of Midland and people. When I came home to validate the fact that, man, you know, you are still special. No matter what you can do, you know, with the basketball or what you can't do with the basketball.
Basketball really doesn't define you.
It doesn't define me. It doesn't define me. And then I got called into this coaching space. To where you're starting off coaching middle school kids. And you end up loving it because again, you end up you realize that you have a much greater impact at that time. And I didn't fully realize it and understand it at the time, but I just knew that I'm like, man, I love these kids and these kids were fun to be around. And it jump-started that excitement again in me that I felt when I was playing basketball and I was competing.
Absolutely.
And then you get the chance to help guide and mold lives, right? At that time. Moving from middle school up to the high school coaching girls, that reminded me that I had to be a lot more patient. And those young ladies, man, you know, shout out to those girls, man, at Lee Rebels girls basketball, man. I loved it during that time because they showed me that patience, big time patience, and that there's a lot of different perspectives on a lot of different things. And I realized that at that point in time that if I'm gonna do this coaching thing, this is where I needed to be, so it could slow my brain down.
Right.
Because again, coming from the collegiate world again, where you seeing all these athletes, big strong bodies that can go and do all the really really cool stuff that we love to see on these highlights and these sports centers.
Yeah.
These young ladies weren't able to do, and all of the stuff that I was able to do, and the way in which that I saw the game of basketball, these young ladies weren't able to do. So it forces you to slow down. It forces you to learn how to teach.
Right.
And not realizing that it was setting me up to be a father, really.
Wow.
Wow. And I ended up taking those same approaches when I ended up getting onto the boys side, and I ended up moving to the city of Houston.
Yeah.
And slowing the game down and teaching these kids who are super athletic the importance of being able to master a fundamental.
Yeah.
And then it allowed their athleticism to even fly through even more. Right? It was even more cool at that point.
Right.
So,
man, just hearing your whole approach to everything, that the Proverbs today just fit in that being able to listen to what you need to do. You talked about patience.
Yes.
One of the attributes of being patient is listening.
Yes.
And absorbing what you thought was your weakness, but it became your strength. Like we talked about this in other episodes, like, and then coming back, everything that you're talking about, I think about the prodigal son. You know, you left and then you came back because the father knew the value in you, right? So, man, Jack, like just hearing your whole walk, man, it's exciting, right?
It is
to know that, hey, I have to take a different avenue. I can still be in the same area, but I got to take a different approach to where I need to go. Find the passion in it and attack it from a different angle. Yeah. And then from boys to girls are so literal.
Yes.
And if you win their heart, you know, they're going to do any and everything for you. Then you transfer that over to the boys.
Yeah.
And
it's, and you know, and the wild thing about it is that, you know, even with the boys, with these young men, you realize real fast, like, they just want somebody there. You know, they really just want somebody there. At that time, again, I was still pretty active. I was younger, so I could still play a little bit. And again, man, they just didn't want to be judged, right? And they just wanted somebody to be there, right? They didn't want a parent, right? They really didn't even need like an older brother or anything like that. They just needed somebody that they felt like that was going to be consistent and be there with them. And not judge them. Man. You know, so
I think that's a huge part of it, not judging them. Man, you know, that's interesting too, man. Like a lot of people don't know that in 2025, we still have, you know, broken homes.
Yes.
You know, we still have homes, single parent households. Dad's not involved in a lot of kids' lives. And sometimes mom's not involved in their lives either. And we think that, you know, oh, that's just in the inner city in New York or somewhere, you know what I'm saying? But man, it's everywhere, and it's right under our noses, even right here in Midland, man. And it's just a lot of those kids, like you said, you know, they just looking for somebody to be there, to be there. And I think it's so important that we have men, you know, like ourselves, and others across the community or whatnot, that are there to mentor these kids and things of that nature. And really, you know, and I'm gonna just be straight up honest with you, man. I really believe that, you know, these young Black men really need us in their lives. And you know, I see it all the time with all of the different sports and leagues that we do. And I just feel like that's a huge, it's real commendable to you that you see that too, you know what I'm saying? And that's taking you through your journey and how it's even, like you said, affected your family and taught you how to be a father to a daughter, you know what I'm saying? That's that's a huge dynamic, man.
Oh yeah, man. Nick, it's weird because you go into these places, into these school districts, and you're introduced to brand new kids.
Yeah.
Right? Introduced to brand new kids, and specifically, like, when I was in city of Houston, being in Acres Homes at Eisenhower High School, around some kids, man, that had some real struggles.
Yeah.
Some what you call some rough around the edges type kids, man.
Yeah.
But those kids were some of the coolest kids, man, that you'll ever run into.
Absolutely.
They're some of the absolute most brilliant minds that I had come across.
Right.
Some of the most resourceful. And again, man, a lot of those kids just, they wanted somebody to sit there with them and not judge them.
Yeah.
To see them, instruct them, correct them. But again, not judge them, because again, they talk with a little twang, they don't say all of the right words all at the same time, man, but you can feel where they're coming from. And, and you can just listen to them, and you can be there for them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still in contact with half of those kids now. Like, they call me talking crazy to me now.
Right. Jack, I think one of the commandments that God told the man is, men, love your wives, and, wives, respect your husband. So a man having to learn how to love, it's not, we don't know. We have to be taught that, right? We have to learn that. And what you were talking about, you and Coach Norman was talking about, being there for them. That being there, that's love. Y'all loving them where they are.
Yep.
And it's showing them something that they've never felt before. So in return, they give you the respect, because you're being vulnerable for them. And in turn, they'll do and listen to anything you have to tell them. Right?
Oh yeah, man. And it's funny, man, because you get with these kids and they do.
Yeah.
And they will.
Right.
But like, all these young men, they also want they want to say something back.
Right.
You know what I mean? And to me, again, I just always told our guys, and I would get in trouble for this, because they would say, like, man, these kids just say almost anything. And I was like, man, well, y'all are in their house. Right? Like, y'all are in their locker rooms, right? Like, y'all are in their places of work. Like, this is their comfort spaces, right? Like, this is a no judgment zone once you step inside this 50 by 94. Okay. Right? Like,
that's
this
basketball court.
This is basketball. Yeah. like, so when you're in those kids' worlds, right? And this is even when you're having personal conversations with them. When you sit down and you step into their world, you have to be able to accept their world as raw and uncut as it is. And that's what a lot of these kids are just wanting, to be able to just get that stuff off their chest. And it doesn't come off the right way a lot.
Yeah.
But again, it comes into the no judgment part, right? As coaches, we've said this before. Don't listen to the tone, right? Listen to the message.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you dig through these messages that these kids are trying to tell you, and you realize, oh, this is what he's trying to say. This is what he's saying. It's just coming off with a little bit more passion, and it is what it is.
Right.
You learn that it's not being disrespectful, at least not to me, because kids weren't being disrespectful.
Right.
It's
just loving them where they are.
Loving them where they are, man, and accepting their message so that you can get through to them with the hopes that you can help in some way, form, or fashion.
Right.
So
that's a great.
How much of that did you actually have to perfect as a coach compared to being a player? I mean, I guess one of the biggest misconceptions is, like, the greatest players in any respective sport would make the best coaches, but that's not always the case. You actually have to learn to be a great coach. So how much of that was a good transition for you? Like, how much of the learning process did you have to undergo being a coach?
Man, I had to learn a lot about it, because coaching isn't monolithic. Right. It's not one thing. Like, there are so many different parts of it. And I tell people all the time, like, my genius in coaching wasn't anything X's and O's related. I was good at a section of coaching. Like, I could really, really coach what we did very, very well. Right. But there's a billion people on this planet, and there's a billion ways in which people see the game of basketball and coaching. And literally every last one of them will work. Right? Literally every last one of them will work. They just probably won't work for you.
Man.
Right? But this one specifically worked for me. And I say all of that to say, again, I come back around. I had to learn the X's and O's, right? I had to learn what I liked and what I could teach. And then I had to learn what those kids can receive. Because again, not everything that I can teach, they can receive.
Okay.
Right. So again, you get to start to have to adopt and shift into different ways of teaching. But then the biggest thing that I learned in coaching is that I had to learn how to become a better listener, and I had to become a better communicator. Because again, everything that's inside my head, right, I have to be able to transfer that information so that they can go out and adopt the instruction. Right. You know.
No, that's real, man. You know, you talk about altering your coaching and things of that nature. You know, a lot of times people think, you know, coaching is just one way. You know, I'm gonna just coach this way. If you can't get it, then you're not good enough. Or if you can't get it, you're not smart enough. And you know, I tell people all the time too, man, like every kid is different. Every person is different, you know, when we're out there coaching. And you know, just speaking on kids specifically, you know, everybody don't learn the same.
No.
You know what I'm saying? That's why we had different classes.
Right.
In school.
Yes.
We had different classes. Different reading levels, all of that stuff, you know. And so, you know, every kid don't learn the same, man. So I tell people all the time, man, it's good to adjust your coaching style to the kid. You don't have to change the foundation of what you do, the foundation of your coaching, but you just adjust along the way, you know, in order to for different kids to get it. And I think that's what makes a great coach, you know what I'm saying? And so by you saying that, boy, that's some real stuff right there, man.
And then the other part that becomes really, really impactful, which was to me, and again, for me, this happened, and I'll continue to go back to you know, like being in Acres Home at Eisenhower, and being working underneath Coach James Johnson, you know, is that he would say this all the time, and he was like, "Don't major in minor things," right? He would say that so much to me. And
hold on, say that again for the people in the back.
Don't major in minor things.
Don't major in minor things.
So I was just like, man, but they can't do this and they can't do that. And he was like, well, what can they do? And he would always say, what can they do?
Yeah.
Right. Well, what can they do? Okay, so they can't get all the way through this, but which part of this can they get through?
Yeah.
Right. Let's become really, really good at that part then. How about that?
Wow.
Right. Let's just become really, really good at that part.
Yeah.
And in doing it, again, it forces you to be patient.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Right. Force you to be patient. Force me to have to think a little bit more outside of the box. But then it forced me also to have to listen to them.
Yeah.
Well, why are they not getting this? Right. Oh, they're not getting this because I said this, right? You know, we have different slangs, different terminologies, different age levels from different things, and they're not understanding, you know, the craziness that us spill or generational gaps and different things, man. And they said, no, we'll just do it this way.
Man.
Okay.
So
let's try it.
Got to change the way you say it.
You got to change the way that you say it, just because, again, like they're not hearing it.
Right.
Like you hear things in your head the way that they make sense to you. But that doesn't mean that it makes sense to them.
Right.
It comes down, I mean, dealing with our wives, our kids,
man.
Right? But it just comes back around. It comes back full circle. Like, I mean, I know I like to wash dishes a certain way. Right. I like to fold towels a certain way. That doesn't mean that she likes to.
Get into it now. Get into it now.
But no, but it's not. But at the same time, but it just comes back around full circle with the coaching. And that's just where it comes back around to, man, is being able to be an effective communicator and effective listener. And listening to those kids, because it's them that have to go and perform. Right. Like they have to perform your vision. Right. And you know, how well can I paint that vision? Right. You know,
well, one of the things that we talk all the time about this show is really building that bridge between the skill sets that this awesome world of sports can really bring off the court or off the field, right? And really how we can apply some of those skill sets that we perfect and refine by being involved in our just day-to-day lives, man. So that's why, like, sitting here you sort of explained in a simple example of folding sheets and how it impacts your communication with your family and, sort of preps you to be a better father. Like, this is really the value that we want to continuously highlight, because again, the more you put into anything is the more you get out. And if you can get multiple benefits, whether it's a championship on the court or a life championship and raising a great family and being involved in a great family, I mean, we really want to try to tie that all together. So it's really cool to hear you sort of allude to that without us pointing it out or without us introing it, because you're living it, man. You're living the experience, and it's awesome to hear you share that side of it.
Man, great minds think alike.
Yeah, man. But then also as we bring back around again all of these different components of coaching that I'm learning, every stop that I went to taught me something different. And, so even when I transitioned and I moved over to becoming a head coach in Belton, I learned so many other things. Again, I got the chance to not just learn the stuff that was on the floor, but I learned management. I learned organization. And they were big on those things, and I just wasn't at that time. So I learned those things. And then I also, again, was able to take the things that I learned from Eisenhower and bring that to Belton. And one of those things was just this delusional confidence and being able to kind of like brainwash kids into believing that they can do some wild stuff.
Right.
And we did it, because I took over a program that traditionally at that point they hadn't been winning.
Yeah.
At least not at the levels that they are currently. Right. And but yeah, I was blessed to have a group of really good kids at that time, but they just didn't have that confidence level that some of these other kids that with less talent had. But that less talented group that was super confident, they achieved like
more than
greatly.
Right.
And we were able to do some really cool stuff, man, with those young men. Yeah. And it ultimately ended up moving me forward because again, I
into the next chapter.
To the next chapter. And then
that's
where
cool,
I was able to get talented kids that were also confident.
Yeah. That was also confident. So if that you don't put it all together.
And boy, did I catch lightning in a bottle. Because at that point, man, it took off.
Right.
And that's cool that you learning from each journey, each stop in your journey. You know what I'm saying? You learning something, but you also bringing something to them.
Yes.
Right.
And they obviously saw something in you.
It's not transactional.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not transactional. Like it's completely transformative between me and them.
Yeah.
And we got something that become much more well-rounded. And even when I got to Burleson Centennial, man, shout out to my Spartans, man. Them Spartan dogs.
Yeah. Dogs.
Yeah.
But even with them, like I had to learn a lot in just I was dealing with a rough around the edges group that was very, very no nonsense in terms of like you couldn't BS those kids in Houston. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So everything was direct. Everything was very like forceful. You know what I mean? In terms of the instruction that was given, it was like, no, you go do this and this and these other things. And the language can get very flowery, very colorful. And then I got over with those kids at Centennial and they didn't handle criticisms the same way.
Right.
So now I had to learn to revamp my communication style.
Adapt.
And I had to adapt and bring that to them because again, I didn't realize I was being so negative. I thought I was motivating, right?
Right.
I thought I was motivating.
Yeah.
And these kids didn't need that because they were good already.
Yeah.
Right. They were confident, but then me calling them out on just little things, thinking that it was motivating them because it motivated these other groups of kids.
Yeah.
It didn't work the same. I was coming out negative and I got called out on that because again, you open up that like again,
that communication door. If
I can criticize you, then you get a little pushback, right? As long as it's not disrespectful. But they called me on it, and I had to really, really sit down and take a long, deep look in that mirror, man, to be able to make that adjustment.
With that being said, Jack, that's one of the worst thing a good coach or a man can be, prideful.
Yeah,
but being able to take a step back and hear what your athletes or whoever you're over is willing to say. And yet, we talked about this earlier in our text thread, making it a safe environment that they're able to come and tell you. And you take heed to sound counseling and take advice because you're listening. With that being said, talk to us about, everybody want to talk about like your best moment in life. What is one of your worst failures and you've learned from it?
Ooh, man, but that's a loaded question.
It is, but don't say nothing.
Okay, because I
incriminate yourself or get you in trouble at home, right?
Because I was getting ready to go there, man. I was gonna get myself in trouble. But I'm not.
Hey, this is a free space, though. This is a judge-free zone.
Judge-free zone.
Yeah, we listen and we don't judge.
Man, honestly, at this point, and I'm just talking now professionally.
Right.
One of my biggest failures was taking so many things personally, even though it moved me and it motivated me. Because again, like the city of Midland, Midland ISD, right? I had to go away to show my worth as a head coach. Okay. Because in my brain, I was confident enough in my knowledge and ability to do a job, but I was ineffective in my ability to communicate the fact that I was confident enough and knowledgeable enough to do a job.
Gotcha.
And
so
those
you had
no's,
to go off to learn
those
that
hard no's, man. Yeah. And I took it personally. Like I took it personally. Right. To the point to where, again, like there's people that I still won't talk to. Because again, I felt that it was such a slight. So that every time that I brought my teams back here to play, it was I wanted to dog walk.
Dang.
Like and I was
What was your famous quote that everybody continued to say?
Man, hey, choose violence.
Choose violence.
Yeah.
In relation to scoring the basketball.
Yeah.
Right. We wanted to play very, very physical and very, very aggressive at the rim.
Yeah.
And we had guys that can play very, very high above the rim. And we wanted them to hang on people's furniture. We wanted to be disrespectful in that manner.
Hey, Jack, you said that you took it personal. And every time you talk, like I look for the God answer through a God lens.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes what we want is not
it's
what
not,
God
man. It was
asked for. So you have to close that door and do it in a way that you wouldn't turn and come back so that you can go and better yourself and get yourself ready. So when he opened the door, there's no weakness in you, right?
Man, those guided steps, right? Like, you know, he was laughing at my plans.
Right.
Right. Like, I mean, he got a good giggle.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And tell God our plans. He laughed.
I laughed at him, man, because I didn't know that I needed those kids at Centennial. I didn't know that I needed those kids at Belton. I didn't know that I needed those kids at Eisenhower High School to build me into who I am. Right. And again, they taught me to become like a better person, a better coach, a better father, a better brother, a better everything. You know what I mean? Like I was taught by these kids. Yeah. You know, like, and I love them to pieces for it.
Yeah.
Because, I got the chills right now, boy. Just you talking about that right there, boy.
But because I took things so personally, I wanted to make sure again that I learned as much as possible. I studied, I worked, you know, I worked hard, man. Like I really did. A lot of nights where I didn't sleep so that I can be as prepared as possible for those kids, but selfishly for myself. Right. Yeah. So that I can go back and show the people of Midland, city of Midland, like, yeah, you messed up.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna show you that you messed. I'm gonna show you why I was the best.
Wow.
Right? And why you should have chose me over them. But again, it was personal that I was taking those things.
Yeah.
Not realizing they were right. I wasn't ready for those jobs at that time.
Wow.
You know, I wasn't. And thank God that I wasn't. Because again, I end up being able to go and help and serve totally different population of kids. Wow. And now my impact got the chance to be able to spread even further and not just live within our kids here within West Texas.
Man, Jack, you are sitting here talking about yourself, but yet you are revealing your resume and your attributes of a great leader, you spoke servant. Like,
oh man,
you have, in order to be a leader, you have to have a servant heart.
Yeah.
Like your resume, you're speaking a resume, and I pray that those that are involved in the syndicate, the board or whatnot, like they listen to this and they really understand, like, we got the right person.
Oh yeah, it's evident, and it's very evident as to why they hired him. You know what I'm saying? It's very evident.
What do they say about your reputation?
It precedes you.
So with him coming down here, taking care of business in the manner that he done, and I hate to say it, during the times that his teams was playing, that was the most attendance.
Yeah,
right.
It was.
They were ready to see this coach and question why he's not coaching here, and his coaching style. MC Mike, I never saw a coach. He would get down to the level of that he can see and squat down on his knees, and he would coach from there. And that was a very unorthodox style. But when you are speaking to a child, sometimes you have to get down to their level and speak to them. And so there are just things that you've done along the way. I don't think that you knew what you were doing.
I didn't even really pay attention to it. It was like the most comfortable for me.
Right.
It was the most comfortable for me. It was a way to be able to see the different angles.
Yeah.
And like I could see their feet better, right, to where they were going versus sitting up top, and all I'm seeing is shoulders, right, and then big hair.
Yeah. that took me a lot. Like coaches now. Footwork on a basketball court or any sport is the most important. They can look at your footwork and not even think about the shot and see your feet wasn't right. Like your shoulders. Like, I'm not worried about the shot. If it goes in, it goes in because of your foundation is set.
Yeah, because I mean the foundation has to be there. The foundation has to be there in everything, though. Right? Right. I mean, we talk, this is the threat that we, you know what I mean, like that.
So your foundation wasn't set when you were here.
No, it wasn't. It was rocky. Emotionally, I was all over the place. I was immature, cocky.
Y'all got me feeling like I'm on round table talk, bro.
Like I was cocky because I knew it. Like I knew what I knew, right? And I knew that my experiences in basketball provided me with a lot of knowledge that a lot of others didn't have, and I was cocky about it. You know what I mean? And again, a cocky leader ain't one you want to be around. You know what I mean? A confident one you want.
Yeah, confident.
You know, but like I mean, it wasn't just confidence. Like it was cocky, and again, I didn't do a good job. Right? Again, like I said, I didn't do a good job communicating what I believed that I knew, and my abilities to be able to do a job. And rightfully so, they hired the people that did do that.
Right.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
So can I go out and say he apologized and he forgive those that he didn't like up until this point?
No, man, but I say that though, man, and it wasn't. No, there was some I absolutely didn't like. I leave that out there. Like, and there's no coming back from that.
Some of y'all still on the hit list. No.
If we were coaching against it, I swear to you, they would right. I swear to you, they would get me.
They still gonna
because I'm still competitive.
Right.
But no, it was like I still spoke and I still speak to a lot of those people back now. But again, I've grown and I've matured.
Right.
And we've had these conversations. Like I've had these conversations with these people that told me no.
Tough conversations.
Super tough.
That's necessary.
It was super tough because again, they had to remind me you weren't ready at that time. And again, you can make your plans all you want, man. And the good Lord says, no, brother, that's not for you. And again, I thank God to this day that he took me away from here to show me who I am and what I'm fully capable of doing. Because that empowers me now to know that even though I'm stepping into this new space, as the executive director of the Midland Athletic Syndicate, that I know that I can do the job. Right. And I know that I can do the job at a level that's commensurate with everything else that I've been able to. And I keep saying and I hate that too, that we were able to get done because again, I didn't do any of this by myself.
Right.
I've had great mentors, and two of my favorite mentors are right here, right? Like people that I am inspired by. Like I'm inspired by my friend group.
That brother's text
like man, like I'm inspired by my friend group. right? They're the most impactful. They are some of the smartest. They are some of the most clever. They are some of the most resourceful. They are God-fearing, right? And they are men.
Right.
Like they are men.
So who's all in that text?
Oh man, shout out to my boy, man. You know, John Norman, Antoine Alexander, man. Shout out to my boy Ben, man. Shout out to Chris Benjamin. Packer, Charles Taylor.
Yeah.
Man, Calvin Hugo. Yep, Ben. Yep, Calvin. You know, and then shout out to my other group thread that I have, man. That's Cornelius Mitchell, man, who I think is the best basketball player. I mean, best basketball coach in the United States.
Wow.
Yeah, I said it. He's the best. Right? Wow. There's not a better basketball coach than Cornelius Mitchell. And I think some of these college basketball coaches are silly for not having him on their staffs, because y'all's programs will get a whole lot better, because all he does is win. And he's anyway, I can keep going on, man.
That's good, man.
That's my guy, and I love him to pieces.
And I like to encourage people out there that's watching this podcast, man. Get you a good group of whether it's men, women, whatever it is, man. Get you a good group of people to.
Y'all call me on my stuff too.
Yeah. You know, they be calling me on it too, man. You get to hold each other accountable, and
it's a lot of fun.
You know, man, you just have that good group of core guys or whatnot. And if you got to get two of them, just like TJ, he got another one. You know what I'm saying? And I have a couple of them, like with my family and all of that type of stuff as well. So I encourage anybody out there, man, to have you a good group that you can be open with and not be judged. You know, we talk about everything in those groups, man.
I remember at one point we had started the year off. This was with Centennial. We started the year off, man, and we were struggling. I want to say we start the year off like maybe 0-6, 0-4, 0-5, 0-6, something crazy.
Job was on the line, huh?
It wasn't, because again, we were good enough to where like the relationships that I had, and with the administration, they knew that we were solid. They knew that, again, I wasn't out there trying to lose games. But remember, Coach Johnson says, "Man, well, send me your practice plan." It's okay. So I sent him these practice plans. And so I sent him these practice plans. He's like, "That's it, dummy." I'm like, "What you mean?"
Wow.
He was like, "You're trying to do too much." I was like, "Man, what you mean? But we need to go through this. We need this. You need this." And I'm arguing now. Because this is my baby. I didn't put time into the practice plan, man. I'm talking, we down to the minute.
Hold on,
he was like, "Man, what you doing all of this and this and this, man? Man, keep it simple. Keep it simple. What do they need? You don't need all of this." And he just tore it up. And I was like, "What?" And you just get up in arms because I'm taking it personally again, right?
Get defensive
and then he talked, "All right, man, well, keep loving on them kids and hang the phone up."
Okay, so everything you just described is this proverb to the T, right? You listen to the advice and you accept the instruction, and then what happened after?
I didn't want to listen to that. But it go through, man, and I sit down with my assistant coaches, and then one of my assistant coaches at that time named Blake Dunson. No, we were 0-4. We weren't 0. We didn't go.
Okay.
We were 0-4.
Take that too.
Yeah, we only lost 7 games that year.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, so we went on a run.
Okay.
But
make it some fun.
But
boy, you stupid.
but he's so we go through that, man, and sit down with Blake, and he's just, "Hey, man, he said, hey, this is what we do. Keep the practice plan, but we're not changing that practice plan anymore. Same practice plan all week. We didn't change it. Say, we can give these kids a chance to be good at this, right? To get at something. And we're going to master this practice plan all week. Mind you, you have 2 basketball games in a week." So he's like, "No, we're just going to be good at this practice plan." And I was like, "Okay." So anyway, I say that, and we simplified it. And that mentor group come back around. And I never did give Coach Johnson, man, his kudos for that, man.
Right.
Man, keeping it simple. Man, stop doing so much. Shout out to Coach Johnson, man. Like, I stopped doing so much, and our kids grew from it. They actually had the chance to learn what we were teaching, and we grew our foundation. And
something as simple as that phrase, keep it simple.
Keep
it simple.
We, you know what? we got to the point because again, you can't call kids stupid, right?
Yeah.
And stupid in my house is a cuss
I mean, you
word.
can, but
it's ill advised.
Right? Yeah.
And like my daughter would be like, "Dad, you can't say that. That's a cuss word." You know, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry." So we start using the term, keep it simple and succeed, right?
I love it.
Keep it simple and succeed.
Keep it simple and succeed.
KISS, right?
Yeah,
Keep it
right,
simple and succeed.
Right.
But we kept it simple. We start to take stuff out, and then I also had to listen to my kids. I remember a player of mine, man, named Kieran Collins. Shout out to my man Zoe. And he's like, Jack. He's like, Jack, because that's what they call me. They didn't call me coach. They called me Jack.
Yeah.
Right.
You were good with that,
Yeah.
right?
Oh man, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. He's like, Jack, like, man, our practices are too long. Like our practices are too long. I say, man, what do you mean? Like, man, we allotted this 2.5 hours. Like we could get through it. We could do all of it. It's like he's like, Jack, it's too long. Like we're tired. Like we're just tired. Like we're hurting.
Yeah.
I said, what you want to do? We shouldn't practice. I said, should we just not practice? Again, you go all the way. I go to a full different extreme. I wasn't listening.
Right.
And it's like, no, it's like, hey, we'll go harder. We'll go harder in 90 minutes than we will in 2 hours and 30 minutes. I said, well, y'all prove it then. Prove it. He said, bet. I don't know what they went and did. Right? They came out and it got to the point to where it was just so competitive with this group. This is my 2020 group.
Okay.
They were so competitive that we end up having to shorten practices even more.
Wow.
Our practices, man, we won 32 basketball games.
Yeah.
Right? We won 32 basketball games and our practices were 45 minutes long. Because they were so intense.
Keep it simple.
They were so intense and they were so competitive that fights would break out. And anything longer than that, you start to teeter on that, man. Right. It's like, oh, shut it down.
Okay, shut it down.
Right.
Mind you, I say that they were wildly talented.
Yeah.
Right. Like off of that team, I mean, we got guys that are
but at the same time,
everywhere.
Your motto is be good at what you do.
Yeah.
Right. And I can say a little story. I remember I called you early one day and was like, Jack, I need that offense, that zone buster that you ran. It's so simple.
Yeah.
And yet, like Coach Johnson with you, you took the time out of your busy schedule, because it was during a game week.
Yeah.
Sent me what I needed and explained to me what type of person needs to go where, and told me this, let the kids react to it.
Yeah.
If they want to switch, let them switch, but let them understand the offense to the level that they can, and let them run it. And it was great.
Yeah, they will fail their way through it.
Right.
It
was good, man.
Yeah, they'll fail their way through it. And we just kept things simple. And with that group, man, and that keeping it simple theme, just kind of ran through everything since that, and it just stayed that way. And, we were able to find success doing it.
That's good, man. I want to get to something that you kind of slightly mentioned. You had, and it's a little bit of a turn or dynamic in this conversation, but you had mentioned that you taught all of these kids at these different schools and everything, man. And I know that you have a lot of kids that you coached and been a mentor to. That's now in a higher level, a collegiate level.
Yeah, a lot of
them. It maybe pro level, I don't know. But
soon.
Yeah. Right. Man, talk about that a little bit, man. Let's dive into that that realm.
Man. Shoots, man, that background is wild, because you got, I tell people, man, I mean, we was going through, I was like, man, I remember I sent to them at one point, I was like, man, I had this kid, 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 this kid. And they were all on the same team.
Yeah, all on the same team.
Yeah, and they were at everywhere. I mean, Texas Tech, Navy, Army, the football teams. These all kids that played football. Man, they were all on these football teams. Northwestern State and what is that? Louisiana. Man, kid playing basketballs at Missouri Southern, kid playing basketball at that time at Troy. Shoots, I can't think of where else. Man, they were all over, but
All
they were all
over
on
the
the same team.
Right.
They were all on the same team when you
Newman
had.
University.
I'm trying to find that text.
But I mean, they were literally all on the same team.
Yeah.
North Carolina Central.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were literally all of these group of kids were all on the same team.
Yeah.
And boy, man, life was fun.
I bet. Right. All of that talent.
But yeah, no, but those kids, man, but all of those kids played football, they played basketball, they ran track.
Yeah.
They did everything. And that was more of a shout out to that community, the Centennial, Burleson Centennial community. Because Coach Kyle Geller, who just ascended up into athletic admin this year, he didn't have an ego, right? And my situation was a lot different. I got to get my kids that played football during their football seasons. They were in the basketball gym with me.
Hold on.
Wait, you just cussed and we are not doing this.
I'm being dead serious, man.
So during the football season.
During the playoffs.
During the playoffs, in the football season.
District, all of it. Yeah. These kids were in the gym.
They were in the gym.
Yes.
So what would
y'all heard that out there?
Right.
I'm told in West Texas that's sacrilegious.
That's like a cuss word or something.
You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, no, I swear to you, we had these kids in the gym. Mind you, I just told you all the names of those schools.
Right.
All of these kids are playing they're defensive backs and tight ends and wide receivers all across the country.
Right
now. But they were in the gym.
So what you saying they're in the gym?
Yes.
You know that they're still in season.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you were smart enough to put them in situations that they're not going to hurt a knee, hurt an ankle. So you mean they were just getting up shots? Getting up shots, going through ball handling routines, dribbling. Yeah. All I had to do fundamentals. That's it. And it was on their time. Kids at Angelo State, kid at Emporia State.
Yeah.
All playing. And it was all on their time. And they come in and the kids would be like, "Hey, coach, I got 10 minutes." I was like, "All right, bet. What we can do in 10 minutes?" "Oh, we go get some form shooting done."
Yeah.
They come in because they had football practices. Our gym opened at 6 every morning.
Was it cool?
Yeah. Yeah. If it wasn't, I was gonna have a problem.
Right.
But so they just come in and they couldn't play, even though a lot of them wanted to. They would try. Of course. Right. But their football practices started. They had meetings starting about 7:30. So I told them, "Hey, man, come in with your I don't know what
football pad.
Your football pad. That's what they call. There we go.
Yeah, your girl.
They come in with them. Which basketball, we wear more pads than football kids wear now.
Yeah, they do now.
Right.
But no, they would come in with that stuff on, man, and it wasn't every day. But they would come in some 2 days a week, sometimes 3 days a week, sometimes every day.
Right.
It's just depending on what they felt like. And they come in, they shoot, they ball handle, 10, 15 minutes. Sometimes it was 30 minutes. Now, I really want to hit this number. They get in there, you get the shooting. I really want to hit this number. I got to get this number, And then they leave.
Right.
Like, all right, I'll holler at y'all. And it was every day, all year long.
And how was the football coach? How was he receptive?
Oh, shoot, man. KG was like cussing a lot of them out sometimes. Man. Like, why y'all not in the gym?
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing? Go get some shots.
So you had that support.
Wow.
That,
man,
get in there with Coach Jack. And
what are y'all doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
We would look up in our tryouts.
Yeah.
And he'd have his entire football team out there at our basketball tryouts. Wow. So you're looking up, he's like, "Coach, I told all of them they need to go. Get on the announcement and say, hey, if you played football at Centennial High School, basketball tryouts are this day. I'm expecting you guys to all be there until Coach Jackson tells you need not to be there."
Wow. The support.
Oh, man, he wanted to win.
So I have a theory.
And he didn't care about winning.
I have a theory.
Our baseball coach was the same way.
So let me ask you this real fast.
Baseball too.
Yeah.
Hopefully
I got kid play basketball for me. Is pitching at Texas Tech right now.
Play basketball?
He hooped and could hoop.
But he's playing basketball at Tech right now.
No, he's playing baseball
at Tech.
So you have all around athletes.
They played as much as they could
in high school.
100%.
Not one sport.
Yeah, some of them did.
Well, okay. Yeah. So let me ask you this. How well were the football program? Was it pretty good?
Top 10 in the state in football, basketball, baseball, and track.
So with that being said, is it for me to sit here and think that I can look at a basketball program that is pretty good, that is good, and I can look and say that the football team should be on the same level if the coaches
were trying to get on our football team's level. That was the thing, because our football team was good every year.
Football team
we would only get knocked out by Alito.
Okay, so
we dog walk everybody else, and then they'd struggle against Alito. And boy, we had them jokers on the ropes at one time. God. Philip, man, I got you. Philip Chappie.
Yeah.
Oh man, Day, man. God.
hurt you, huh?
Man, they were so ready for that. They had it, and they had it just, man.
So my theory is, if a football team is good, the basketball team is going to be good.
It could be, yeah, for sure.
And everything else is going to follow.
It's the culture of our school.
Yeah, I think the way he said it.
Because our girls basketball team was good, our volleyball team was good, softball team was good.
Did your volleyball players play basketball as well?
I think they did. I think there was some crossover there as well. I'm not, again, I didn't know that program fully, but yeah, there was some for sure. We just didn't. Our thing is that we didn't want to have to over rely on guys coming from other sports.
I got you.
But we wanted to make sure again that we can fill in the gaps and we can highlight
when you could see. And that's the thing that I think about is, like, especially out there, you know, you have, I guess you could say, well, yeah, you got a bigger pot to pull from, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so we were a 5A school. I mean,
okay, well, see, there you go. So you a 5A school, we 6A out here, you know, but it's such a different dynamic out here where either coaches or parents or even athletes don't believe in.
I'll tell you this:
playing multiple sports, and we and even in track, like, we don't have enough kids to even say that we're not gonna come out here and run track and stuff, because our best track runner might just be focused on baseball.
Man, y'all remember Randy Gardner?
Yes,
Randy Gardner was a starter on the varsity basketball team at Midland High. Starter in baseball. And I believe he went to state in track too. And baseball and track was going on at the same time. Like, you know, like, and I say all of that to say, and shout out to another kid from Midland, Texas, West Texas kid, Sam Skidmore. He was at Belton. He was our athletic coordinator at the time. But our athletic director, Bob Shipley, his son is Jordan Jackson Shipley.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So Shipley, Bob gave me my first head coaching job at Belton. But he would say, no, this is what we're going to do. He says, we're all going to sit down.
The coaches.
Yes, the coaches. Right. We're taking the parents and the kids out of this in this point. Right. Because the parents are only going to do what the coaches them tell them to do.
Or allow them.
Right?
Yeah.
And says, no, we'll get our schedules. We get your schedules. We get these schedules. And we will create a schedule for these kids. And you know what the parents do? All the kids say, hey, I need to be here. And they see what's on the schedule and they show up.
And they show up and bring them there.
Yeah. Sometimes it's doing double duty at times. Right. You know what I mean? Oh, you got a spring league basketball game, but you have football practice at such and such. Okay. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
Some things you can't be everywhere all the time. So you have to understand that. You have to be reasonable.
But he laid down the foundation.
But he laid that foundation, and I took it. Right? Like I took it with me. Yeah. So again, when we got to Centennial, and I'm with KG, and I said, I just simply asked him. I said, hey, you mind if they come in and shoot? He's like, they're not playing, are they? I said, no, they're just shooting. Yeah, they need to be in there then, if that's the case. Okay. So they just shot. They go in there, shoot the basketball again. And we took the approach 10 minutes, 15 minutes, compounds, right? You just start to stack those 15 minutes that they wouldn't normally be getting.
That they wouldn't be.
You know what I mean? And it helped us. The only thing I had to worry about doing was getting them in shape. Right. You know, which they were never going to come to me in shape anyway, at least not basketball shape.
It's different. Yeah, it's different shape.
And that was it. And the other thing that was, he was stressed to me. He's like, make sure again that they don't come back to me weaker. Right. And I was like, oh, say less. Right. Because again, I know some programs like they have universal off seasons in different parts of the state, or kids that play football, they have to go through football off season during basketball seasons, during baseball seasons, and those things. And he was just like, no, just make sure they don't come back weaker. I said, well, I promise you this much. They're probably not fit to gain 20 pounds. Their bench press ain't fit to go up 30 pounds.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But they're not going to be weaker.
They're not going to be.
And we lifted different. We didn't stack all that weight on your back.
Absolutely.
Right.
We did high reps.
Yeah.
A lot of high rep stuff.
Yeah.
And crazy thing is that a lot of those kids got stronger. Now he was going up 5 or 10 pounds. They weren't going up. In off season, you can go up 20, 30 pounds if you hit that.
Yeah.
They weren't going up in that, but a lot of them were getting stronger.
Getting stronger over time. Yeah.
But we lifted 4 days a week.
Yeah.
All year long during season.
Yeah. See?
So our kids, we had an understanding. Our kids came back stronger. They were in better shape.
Yeah.
They were in way better shape than anything that you can do out there with what they were doing, because they had to cut and react in real time to real people.
Yeah.
Versus any drill that you can do. And it worked.
Man, that's
like it worked.
I'm gonna say
it worked for us.
But
we were all
like
like-minded in the same goal.
Right.
We all wanted each other to be successful.
But it worked for y'all. But I think it can work for a lot of people. I think that's something that we lack out here in West Texas, man. Is first of all, the support from the different coaches.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Starts there though.
Yeah, it does start there. Yes,
there.
and you have to have that support amongst the different coaches to know that I'm not going to put these kids in harm's way to hurt your program.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so, but we're going to get in here and we're going to still get this work in.
Yes.
And see, we don't do that out here, man. And I think that's why we're lacking in our because we got talent out here.
No doubt.
We got a lot of talent out here, man. But we're lacking in those areas of support and multiple sports. Because it's just not.
No, man, but
it's different than when we grew up. Like when we grew up, we did it all.
We had to.
We had to do it all.
But at the same time, think who our role models were. Like you had Bo Jackson, you had Deion Sanders, like you had people who
my
played
Uncle
different,
Junior, Junior Miller,
Uncle Junior Miller.
Who played different sports. So after football, basketball, then going into baseball, like I'm trying to be Ricky Henderson and steal all the bases. Right. This things like that. But I don't think that those type of athletes are out anymore.
Like there's definitely been this thing to where there's become this idea that everything has to be everything has to be so specialized. And I do get that. Like it's now, like I couldn't compare myself to you, right, as an athlete, right? Because you were so much faster, right? And more dynamic. I couldn't compare myself to you as an athlete, right? Now, so specializing made a little bit more sense to me, right? Because again, like I just didn't have that extra fire. Mind you, I could have gone and been another guy on the team and been able to help in some capacity.
Yeah.
But legit being able to go out there and be able to make an impact in a second sport. Yeah. Like, cause y'all made impacts in basketball and y'all made impacts in track.
Yeah.
On top of, we know what y'all did in football, right?
Yeah.
Like, but like, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to make that kind of an impact that I could in basketball, that I could in,
right. Yeah.
So it made sense for me to specialize.
No doubt.
Right. It didn't make sense for a guy like Charles Taylor, even though it worked out great for him.
Even though it worked out great for him.
It did.
You know what I mean?
But a lot of people don't know about Chuck, running back.
Boy.
Say Charles
or
Taylor,
on the track.
Or on the track,
You
shout out to
the
Chuck,
city of Midland up about just have another athlete that's a multi-sport athlete.
But then again, too, we think about it too, is this Cedric.
Yeah.
Cedric was one of the better basketball players coming out of our class.
Yeah.
Right. But he didn't play and he made the right decision.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he played football, but in baseball, yeah, he got drafted.
But he was also one of the better hurdlers, and people don't realize.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
You know what I mean? But again, it ended up stopping, But he still had the second sport,
right?
And again, he chose well because he got paid to do both of them.
Right. He did.
You know what I mean? But like everybody did something. I mean, think about this too. I forgot the young fella's name. Andy, he was
from where?
Played center on those football teams. He's one of the centers on the football team. Andy Brewster,
yeah.
Right.
I think he played with Joe now.
Yes, he was. Yeah. But they don't remember though. He was out there running on one of those relay teams.
Oh wow.
The center. But he was that athletic.
Right.
Yeah. Guys like Brad Stovall.
Yeah.
Right. Like these guys was out there, man. You know, they're out there on the track as well.
Yeah.
Like doing, it's just, it was the culture and what we grew up with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everybody had to do it.
You know, because I'm not taking anything from Travis Hunter. Like he's good.
He's different, right? He's an alien.
But
He's like you.
You ask,
you know what I mean? Y'all
no,
different.
No, he might better than me.
That's stuff that we were doing. Like we on the field, your best athlete was going to be on the field.
Well,
like
Roy.
Playing defense, or I'm going to play receiver. Like that's what was going to happen. So when we see things like that, not taking anything from him, if that was the theme, then you would have seen a lot more of that during our time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, but again, too, man, like we as the coaches, and again, now I'm putting my coaching hat back on.
Please.
We as coaches, we have to make sure again that the main thing is the main thing, and that is the kids, right? And I told many of kids, like we had kids, matter of fact, kid that's at Texas Tech right now, he started at safety named Chapman Lewis, right? We had to tell Chappie, nah, you don't need to play this year. Like, because he was wanting to still hoop. We had to tell a kid, like, kid that, again.
And this was at
Centennial.
At Centennial, okay.
Wow. You as a coach.
Yes.
Now, how hard was that? But
so was this his senior year?
Yeah.
Okay, so his senior year.
No, it was his junior year.
Oh, his junior year.
He was showing them signs. He's flashing them signs, dog. Like, I'm going to be.
He going to be that dude.
Yeah. And he turned out to be.
And he turned out to be.
So you as the coach saw that.
We saw it. We knew where their head. But again, we had these conversations, and we were talking to our kids all the time, and we would tell them from the time that they were freshmen with us. We told them. I told Philip this because Philip Hamilton, he's at Naval Academy right now, plays defensive back. But I would tell him he started as a freshman at quarterback at the varsity on a team that was top 10, and started at point guard for me on the varsity level as a freshman.
As a freshman,
helped lead us to 32 wins. You know what I mean? And but we would always say, "Boy," I said, "Man, I can't wait till I said, man," because we already knew that he was a football player that was playing basketball.
Right.
And I would tell him, "Man, I can't wait till I tell you, boy, you can't play for me no more." We would always make that joke. I said, "Boy, I can't wait till that day we come to have that conversation and like say, hey, Jack, I just picked this off up, man, and I'm graduating early so I'm not gonna play." So we had this running joke since they were freshmen. I can't wait until they and we were talking about it. And he didn't even want to tell me. His dad told me at their scrimmage, at their first one of their scrimmages of football practices. His dad come to me, man. His dad say, "Jack," and his dad funny dude, man. And he started laughing. East Fort Worth guy.
Yeah.
He started laughing and say, man, that knucklehead come and talk to you, man.
Yeah.
I said, nah. I said, I ain't talked to him. I said, I ain't even responded back to none of my texts and nothing. He's like, oh, he out there avoiding you, huh? Yeah. So he laughing. He laughing. And he said, man, I said, I already know what it's about. He said, okay. I said, okay. Come in, and then we called him in one day. I said, man, say, dog, you don't get to play basketball anymore. Knowing that he already made his decision. Right?
Yeah.
You don't get to play basketball. Man, get out of here. You don't get to play. And he looked at me like, man, what you? And we just start laughing.
Right.
He's like, you talked to my dad, huh?
That's good. That's good.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So we just tell him, man, like, nah, at some point, like it's gonna be like, hey, man, nah, like, you don't need to play.
Yeah.
Right? Like what you got going on, you don't need to play.
No, that's good that y'all looking out for the kids like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have to.
Shoot, that's unselfish of y'all.
But it's also conversations with those parents too. You have those conversations with those parents.
Yeah.
And you know, and like it was pretty consistent conversations with them. And they were like, well, what do you think? Do you think that he could? I said, at this point, again, they're freshmen, sophomores, like we don't know where they can go to at this point.
Right.
But at some point, the game will choose you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It will choose you.
Yeah.
And we go, and then by the time they were juniors, it was like, yo, Chappie was like, Jack, dog, this ain't happening.
Yeah.
And then, Phil was like, no, I'm gonna try it again. And then it got to that summer, going into the scene, he's like, man, I hadn't secured the bag, Jack.
Yeah.
I don't got one yet. I said, man, go get your money, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was understood.
Right.
But even during that process, until he got it, he was still come back in the gym. He'd still come and play. But then it got to the point where he's like, we're telling him no.
Yeah.
We're telling him no. mom and
There's
dad.
also a skill set too, right? There's different skills that you learn in these different sports which are applicable. We talk about footwork all the time. But you take somebody like Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he was drafted by the Detroit Tigers.
But
he didn't sign with them.
I know Patrick's uncle really, really well. Like, it's my guy. And Patty could hoop too. He was a basketball player.
He's an athlete. Like, he's a superstar athlete.
Was good at basketball, and then he ended up loving football because he got really, really good at it.
But how much of that skill set did he learn from those other sports, right? Being in a different environment, understanding your different capabilities of what you're physically able to do. Obviously, baseball, it's a lot of arm strength, right? How much of that applied to his arm strength now as a football player? A lot of those pieces, sort of need to get factored in too. And, I think Coach Norman brought it up beautifully. Like, you need that support. I mean, at the end of the day, you're all wearing the same name on the front of those jerseys, right? Football, basketball, baseball. I mean, if you have this talent and you have this talent pool, obviously everybody's always concerned with injuries. But we sort of allude to it here all the time too, man. I mean, they're still kids, right? These kids want to have fun. They want to play. They're not signing $1 million contract in their junior year of high school here. So, you want to get out there. You want to play basketball with your friends. You want to be on the football field showing off your skills. You want to play springtime sports, whether it's baseball or something else. I mean, let them do it. Let them have fun with it too, and show that encouragement, show that guidance. I want to sort of swing this conversation back to obviously your current role. And we talk about timing, and you're in the right place at the right time. And, everything you've learned, everything as a player, evolving into that coach, and, your stories are amazing about how you were able to sort of adapt and sort of evolve that coaching stage of your career. Now, I mean, I usually refer to the two gentlemen that you're sitting between as architects of an opportunity that they're providing the Midland area, the Midland youth. Now you're jumping into that role, right? You're taking on the reins of managing and being the executive director of a complex that provides that canvas, that playing surface for, the development of the youth athletes in these sports. What kind of skill sets are you able to take away from everything you learned as a player and as a coach and really bring to the table in your new role here?
The biggest thing with the Midland Athletic Syndicate and our Diamondback Energy Athletic Complex, right? It's going to be a home for kids, number one. Number two, again, what I take from what I've learned is put the kids first. Okay. What's the main thing? Okay. Let's make sure, again, I'm not majoring in anything minor. I'm not biting off too much that I can chew. Let's find something to be really, really, really good at, and then we'll grow from there. Again, not wanting to come in and try to do all of the things that Power 5 is doing, right? Not trying to come in and do all of the things that the Boys and Girls Club or the YMCAs are doing, but serving in our own space and finding a way to find out what are we going to be really, really good at. I have an idea. I like to think, but again, we come back to, the good Lord might be laughing at me, because me with my basketball background, I'm thinking, we feel blow basketball.
Yeah,
it might not be. It might not be basketball. It might be tennis. I don't know. Right. But we're going to be guided, and we're going to have a plan, and we're playing that our plan aligns with God's vision for the direction of what we want to be good at. And that's what I'm bringing to it, is that, again, we will be guided. We will have a plan, and we're going to communicate that, and we're going to work with the Power 5. We're going to work with the Boys and Girls Clubs. We're going to work with the YMCAs to make sure, again, that we're doing what's best for kids.
Yeah. That's awesome.
In the athletic space.
Well, I mean, on and off the field too, right? We talk about all these different platforms, and one of the things that Power 5 has introduced, and a lot of other leagues and a lot of other programs, is running some of these fundamental camps where they have athletes who have taken their athletic career to the next level, coming back and sort of shedding some of that wisdom onto the younger generation. And I mean, obviously you have a platform to do that at this complex as well, which is amazing. One of the segments that we love on this show is, towards the end, we usually provide what we call a coach's tip. Is just something that our listeners can sort of take away for the week, learn and perfect, and, just keep in the back of their mind when they're going through their training or their education or any of that stuff. I mean, you gave a university level course on a lot of things here today. But if there's one sticking point that you want to share with, not only young athletes, but their families and their parents and their coaches and their supporters, what would it be? Like, what would be that one tip you leave off today?
It'd be two. Okay. And that is, number one, it has to be about the relationship between leader and younger person, right? Strong relationships with kids, right, is paramount, specifically in this space that we're in.
Right.
Yeah.
Super strong relationships with kids. Without no relationship, again, we're not going to be able to move a kid from point A to point B anyway. We want to make sure, again, that we're providing a space for kids to be able to grow and foster these skills that we want to impart upon them, life and athletic, right? And that they get the opportunity to be able to stack on top of those.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing, again, is that I tell all young kids, I tell people in general, because this is what was stressed to me, find something to be good at, right? Like in the basketball space. And I just sent this to my little brothers and a couple of my former players just, was it yesterday maybe? Told them, hey, find something to become a master at in that space, right? If you are in the basketball space, pick something, right, that you can become an expert in,
Right.
Yeah.
right? Whether it's player development, whether it's shooting, right? Or if it's zone defense, or if it's pressure defense,
Right.
or if it's man jump defense, or it's 5-out offense, or it's continuity ball screen, or Euro screen, whatever it may be, right? But you pick something and you learn
Become a master.
everything that you possibly can till you master. And then you can start to grow off of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But don't just be okay at everything, right?
Yeah.
Find something very specific and be great at it.
Yeah.
So.
That's good. That's good.
Most doctors don't know everything. They find that specialty and they perfect it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're specialty doctors, and very general medicine is a rare feat in the medical field. So everything you just said is, it's applied in real life in most professions anyway. If you're a plumbing and HVAC and electrical, electrician, chances are you are really well knowledgeable in one of those areas. You just happen to know a little bit more about other things too.
Right.
This has been awesome. And I really look forward to, having a deeper discussion again about the progress, about the development of the complex. When you open those doors, what you expect, and really what your plans are, once you see it sort of in place. And it sounds like that complex in general is becoming the major sports hub of the Midland area, and the advancements that, with the new fields and obviously this new complex. I mean, it seems like the sky's the limit for youth sports in Midland. And again, we just really want to encourage the participation, through leagues like Power 5 and through some of these, different developments that are certainly underway. Do you have any final thoughts? Anything else that we didn't touch on? I mean, I know we covered a lot, but is there something specific that you want to share?
The big thing is I would love to be able to come on again to where we speak specifically about the things in which that we have going forward with the Syndicate today. Again, it felt like it was more of an introduction of who I am and what I've grown to become.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to ever just be about me,
Right.
Because that's truly not who I am. But I'd love to be able to come on and be able to where we specifically talk about all of the things that we're going to have going on with the Midland Athletic Syndicate and our Diamondback Energy Athletic Complex.